One of the scariest things about COVID-19 is how its impact on patients can be unpredictable. We spoke to one local doctor about how the virus may be a factor in additional serious health issues, including complications caused by stroke. We now welcome in Dr. Amir Khan, an associate professor at UCSF Fresno and stroke program director at CRMC. Dr. Khan, thank you for joining us. And we want to know about the risk for stroke right now in the Valley and any relation that it has to COVID. What can you tell us?
Well, thank you for having me. It's a good question. And, you know, the other thing we wanted to talk about was that World Stroke Day is coming up on October 29th. So I think it's an important time to talk about stroke risk in general, but also, as you pointed out, with COVID. And so I think, as we all know, COVID is a very dangerous and deadly illness. But I think the thing that comes to mind in most people's minds is a respiratory or a lung infection. But one thing we've kind of found out about COVID is that it can cause other problems that can be quite dangerous as well. And one of those is actually stroke. The reason why is that COVID actually can cause blood clots to form in the body, in actually various parts of the body. But one thing that's been very alarming in the stroke world is to note that that can result also in stroke happening, sometimes even in people who don't have other prominent risk factors for stroke.
So I guess we hear so much about people having pre-existing conditions, being more susceptible to, a more difficult case with COVID or a difficult battle with COVID. Are there people with pre-existing conditions who get COVID who are more susceptible to having a stroke?
Yeah, interestingly, a lot of the same, as you say, pre-existing conditions that can put you at risk for a more difficult course or even a deadly course or COVID can also give you the same problems with stroke. So we're talking about things like uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled high blood pressure, obesity, lack of regular physical exercise, so absence of good physical fitness. And so those are things that can actually put you at risk for both of those problems.
Well, and of course, with the pandemic, people aren't as physically fit as they used to be. So we're all kind of the victims of our circumstance right now. Are you seeing a rise in stroke patients? Have you seen a rise in stroke patients here in the Valley during the pandemic?
You know, it's hard to say. Initially, I think what we saw was a bit of a dip. And I think that's something that had been reported nationally because I think there was a great fear among patients to even go to the hospital for fear of contracting or getting a COVID infection just being in a hospital. And then I think we've started to see a rebound of people realizing that they should still go in for medical care. I say personally, I can't say that I've noticed that COVID has made a giant impact in the amount of new stroke that we're seeing, but we unfortunately have seen cases where people come in with stroke and they also have COVID. And, like I said, it's hard to say exactly that the COVID is or is not the main player there. But, like we were saying before, there's a chance that it predisposed or caused the clotting to happen in those situations that led them to have that stroke at that particular time.
Well, this is a good time, if you could, to share with us what are the signs of a stroke, what do we need to be aware of, and at what point do we need to go to the hospital or at least contact our doctor?
Yeah, it's a good question. And, there are a lot of signs and symptoms of stroke, but I think it's important to think about the ones that are going to be prominent in a way that's going to be easy. So there's an acronym called BFAST that I'd like to promote, that the American Heart Association and American Stroke Association also likes to promote, so that people can know quickly when there's something that needs to happen. So just going through what BFAST means: B, trouble with your balance; E is for eye, so trouble with your vision; F is difficulty with your face, prominently a facial droop or trouble with the symmetry of your face; A is weakness in an arm; and S is trouble with your speech; and T is just a reminder. T stands for time, which is a reminder that you need to act fast. And so, to answer your question about what should you do, if you think you're having a stroke or you think someone around you is having a stroke, it's very important that you call 911 and get emergent care quickly. The reason why is because emergent stroke care tends to be the most effective for people who receive it the soonest.
If you have just one or two of those symptoms, is it important to take action right away, or do you need to have that be fast, all of those symptoms, in order to take immediate action?
Oh no, actually, you shouldn't wait to have all the symptoms or even two. One is enough. So if you have one of those, and the other thing that I think goes along with the fast concept is that usually the symptoms start fast. So these are typically symptoms that are starting out of the blue, unexpectedly. So they start fast. And so you need to act fast as well to get it taken care of.
All right, very good. Great reminder for all of us. Our thanks to Dr. Amir Khan, an associate professor at UCSF in Fresno. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up,